Hello everyone, Pat Storyteller here again. Saturday afternoon, probably Sunday morning by the time you see this. Anyway, I have a story today about a young man named Ray. Ray lives in Raytown, and his mother lived in Raytown, and his grandmother lived in Raytown. And when Ray was old enough to understand all the words that the old people were saying, his grandmother came to him one day and said, "Ray, I have something to give you. I have a gift for you." She gave him a trunk, and she said, "This is yours. This is yours forever. And it's filled with all kinds of things, and you should always keep it with you. It will be for your life, Ray. And always have it. Always keep it with you. Take it everywhere." And Ray loved his grandmother. He loved her, and he believed her love and kindness. And so he accepted this gift, this trunk, from his grandmother. And his mother said, "Yeah, I used to have that. I used to carry that trunk. So yeah, it's good that you're carrying it now, Ray." And so Ray would take the trunk with him to school and to the soccer games and hanging out with friends. He always had the trunk. And never really came to his mind to look inside. He just accepted this gift from his grandmother, and it was always with him. There was Ray, and there was the trunk. There was the trunk, and there was Ray. And after Ray graduated from high school, he got a chance to go on to university. The university was actually up the hill from Raytown, and so it was, a trek, but he could get there. But he had to carry the trunk with him, and because that was just it for Ray in his life. Ray and the trunk and Ray. Anyway, it was a great celebration that he got accepted to the university, and on the first day when people were going to the campus, have a look around, Ray decided to take his time and get there. He was excited to be there, and so he started walking from Raytown, and of course, pulling the trunk behind him, sometimes pushing it in front of him, but always with him. And so the campus is uphill. I mean, he has to go up a hill with this trunk, and he's carrying it along, and it has some weight. It's a trunk. And as he's edging the trunk up the hill and looking at life, because like Ray's used to carrying this trunk. I mean, it's normal for him. He's moving it along, and on the road, sitting under a tree very comfortably. To the rastaman, and rastaman sees Ray and he says, "Hey, what are you doing, man? How's the eye?" Ray said, "I'm good. Good. Rastaman says, "You're Ray, yeah?" I know you. I see all the time, Ray. Ray. And Ray said, yeah. And the restaurant said, what you doing, Ray, with that trunk? I see all the time with that trunk. What's the story? You know, Ray's a nice guy. He's friendly. He says, well, this is a gift from my grandmother. And it's just me. This is me and my trunk. We're everywhere. And the restaurant says, Ray, what's in the trunk? And for a moment, Ray is a bit confused. He's like, in the trunk? He says, yeah, I mean, it looks heavy. It looks heavy, so, what's in the trunk? What's making it so heavy? And because Ray was a bit tired from pushing and pulling the trunk up the hill, he said, well, let's have a look. He said, I never thought to look in the trunk. Rastaman said, how many years have you had the trunk, Ray? And Ray thought and thought, maybe, I don't know, since I was about 3 years old, something like that. He said, you never thought to look in the trunk? I said, no, I just love my grandmother and she gave it to me as a gift and she told me to always keep it with me, so that's what I've been doing. Rastaman said, Ray, when you go to university, you have to practice asking questions and thinking about questions, and this is a good time to just, you look a little tired. Why don't you sit down and take a look inside that trunk? Since you never even asked yourself what's inside. Ray thought, yeah, why not? I could use a minute to rest then. Yeah, so Ray opened the trunk and he just saw some notes in there. It was puzzling because it was just pieces of paper, but the trunk was really heavy. And Ray picked up one of the notes and started to read it. And the first note said, don't try that. It's not going to work. And Ray looked at the note and thought, well, who's that written to? It doesn't have a name on it. Rastaman said, you don't need that, Ray. You're on your way up the hill to university. Do you need a note that says, don't try that, it's not going to work? You need to work. I think you should just toss out that note. I mean, it's just a piece of paper and it's not much, but it might lighten your load. So yeah, Ray just, there was a garbage bin nearby, conscientious young man, and he crumpled it up and tossed it in the bin, and Ray went back and looked in the trunk, and there were all kinds of notes in there. There was one that said, don't lend your money to people, they're not going to pay you back. Rastaman said, Ray, have you ever lent money to people? Ray said, well, not really. If somebody needs something, I give it to them. I don't really expect it back, and sometimes people give it back. Sometimes they don't. I mean, I don't care. Nice if they give it back, but I don't give it to get it back. Rastaman said, Ray, you don't need that note to remind you that. Why don't you just put that in the bin? Ray said, yes. Ray looked at one more note. It said, don't tell secrets to people. People will hurt you. Would you tell your secrets? Rastaman said, Ray, did you ever tell secrets? Ray said, to tell the truth, I don't have any secrets. If I have a problem, I talk to my mother or talk to a friend. I don't really keep secrets. Rastaman said, maybe you don't need that note then. It's not a thing that you ever do. So Ray threw it out along with the others. And on it went. All the notes saying things that were helpful or not helpful. And eventually, there was one last note in the bottom of the trunk, and it said, "Always listen to your grandmother." And the rastaman said, "Well, do you always listen to your grandmother?" And Ray said, "Sometimes, but mostly I listen to her about this trunk." And the rastaman said, "But it's a heavy trunk, and you're just pulling it around with things that you don't need." And when the rastaman said that, Ray practically fell over on the trunk. "Always listen to my grandmother." "Well, maybe not always," Ray said to the rastaman. "You gonna keep that note? Considering that you only do it sometimes? Works for you sometimes, works for you not sometimes?" Ray was a little nervous, he'd thrown out so many things, but the trunk was heavy and he needed to get up the hill. The day was carrying on. So he thought, "I'm going to leave this one in here." So he closed the trunk, and it was so light. He could practically move it with one finger going up the hill. And then suddenly there was a burst of wind. It threw the lid of the trunk open, and the piece of paper that was left flew out up into the air. The trunk was so light, the wind took it up into the air and carried it off. And then Ray was standing there with no trunk, trunkless. It's almost as if he forgot his name. He looked back and there was the rastaman, pointing to the heavens and saying, "It's okay, Ray. It's okay. I think your climb will be a lot easier now." Looked back again. The rastaman was gone. Trunk was gone. The weight was gone. The notes were gone. Ray kept going up the hill to see what lay ahead in his future, but without the weight of the family legacy. Oh my gosh. Another story. Another story. I hope you stay till the end. And now for the card pull. Here we go.
Oh, wow. Oh, wow. Whenever I get this card, it means your highest angels are watching over you, keeping an eye on you. Your highest angels. Fantastic.